Hi there, students. This is MITS Level D, Lesson 9.4, Avoiding Wordiness and Redundancy. Go ahead and jot down the background knowledge. These are 5 ways to eliminate wordiness and redundancy. They are, first, number 1, eliminate unnecessary words. So you don't want a bunch of extra words that are not necessary in your writing. Trim it is and there are. Often we start sentences with those 2 words, and we often can just eliminate them, and the sentence will sound stronger and more powerful. Eliminate redundant expressions. So if you're saying the same thing with 2 different words, eliminate one. So you'll notice those 3 are all about cutting wordiness. Avoid helping forms of to be. So we know what helping verbs are. It is, am, are, was, were. See if you can condense that into one word. And then use active rather than passive voice. Passive voice tends to be wordier and weaker. And we've already studied when we use that. All right, let's jump to number 1 here. So we're once again revising these sentences, eliminating wordiness and redundancy. There's not necessarily a particularly correct way to do this. There isn't necessarily a single right answer. And to show you that, I'm going to do it on my own. And then we will look at the key that Mr. Stark gives us as well. I have not matched with Mr. Stark yet. Sometimes I like my solution better, sometimes I like his solution better, but let's see what we can come up with. Go ahead and try it yourself first, and then we'll see if there are other things that you can notice. Go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. All right, looking at number 1, there are many different people who play a role in helping with the success of the release of a particular motion picture. Yep, very wordy. I can eliminate there are at the beginning. I see that is rule number 2. Many and different are redundant. I'll cut different. Many people, then I can cut who. Many people play a role in helping with the success of the release. That's pretty awkward. I don't think I need any of this stuff with the success, with the... So I'm going to say play a role in helping release. Or I could say successfully release. Then I can get rid of a particular motion picture. I don't need to say particular. So my sentence now reads, many people play a role in helping successfully release motion picture. Okay. Mr. Stark, what do you have for us? Mr. Stark writes, many people play a role in the success of a motion picture. Okay, so Mr. Stark pares it down even further. I wasn't sure if the author's intent was to talk about the release of a motion picture, so I chose to keep that in and focus on it. But there are certainly merits to both. I think which one I would keep just kind of depends on the author's intent. Do I want to include the release, or simply talk about the success because, well, I won't get into it. We'll go ahead and move on. Item 2, it is Winston's inability to understand the reasons why the government must crush and destroy human freedom that prevents him from letting go of his fascination with the Brotherhood. This is from George Orwell's 1984, which I hope you read next year as seniors. But let's see what we can cut. I can eliminate it is. Do I see any other redundant expressions, unnecessary words, passive voice? Understand the reasons why. I think I can eliminate the reasons. And doing that, I can eliminate that. And that would make it prevent. So let me see, I'm left with Winston's inability to understand why the government must crush and destroy human freedom. I probably don't need both those words. Do I want crush or destroy? Maybe I stick with destroy. Human freedom that prevent him Winston's inability to understand why the government must destroy human freedom. Okay, I do need the S in prevents. Prevents him from letting go of his fascination with the Brotherhood. I'm not going to rewrite that whole thing, since I didn't change too much. Mr. Stark, what have you done? Well, I promise I didn't look at it. Mr. Stark does exactly the same thing I did. All right, high five from out there in Michigan, Mr. Stark. Maybe you came up with the same thing, students. All right, on to 3 and 4. Pip cannot sort out his feelings for Estella. That's Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. All right, what else do we have here? So we have an independent clause followed by a colon setting up a summary or explanation. We have 2 independent clauses connected by a semicolon. So to prep for the quiz, I think I will come up with 2 random words here. How about penguin and architect? All right, so looking at 3, I need to start off with an independent clause. And I want to make 2 sentences that say the same thing in 2 different ways and decide which one I like better. So how do I want to say this? The architect I didn't spell that right. Good heavens. I didn't sleep much last night. The architect struggled to design a habitat for the penguin. Why? What's an explanation for that? It kept pecking her toes. The pronoun reference isn't super clear, but hopefully that works. On to 4. So let's see, the penguin kept pecking the Just don't ask me to spell architect anytime soon. Semicolon. This made it difficult for her to focus on designing its habitat. I had hoped that I would solve my pronoun reference issues with this sentence, but turns out I did not successfully do that. So on both of these sentences, I need to be a little bit more careful with my pronoun references. All right, moving on to 5. Which version is best? Again, I'm not looking at the key here. I'm flying blind, which is kind of fun to do every so often. I'll see if I can figure this out with you. So which version is best? Go ahead and pause the video and give it a try. All right, so what's different here? Louisa pitied Steve's family members. That looks the same in every single one. For their inability to see past themselves. And then C, D, and E say for their selfishness and how they lack compassion. C is awfully wordy. I'm going to eliminate that. There are some wordiness problems in A as well, and that they could not feel compassion, comma, however. Yeah, that should be a semicolon. So there's some problems with A. There is misspelled in B. So I need to do what Mr. Stark has done in D and E with my sentences. I really need to fix that. It's just lazy of me not to. So I'm going to change my sentence to say the architect instead of... No, I'm going to say the penguin instead of its. I'm the teacher. I should do it right, darn it. So I'm changing it to focus on designing the penguin's habitat. And I will say the penguin kept pecking her toes in number 3. Okay, back to D and E in the last one. Which one is right? Let's see. D looks okay. Oh, E is missing a semicolon before however. So D is the best answer. It eliminates some wordiness and it correctly uses a semicolon. All right, friends, I wish you the best on the quiz. Once you take that, we'll do one more lesson here. I hope you find these lessons useful for your writing. And the quiz password is sycamore, just like the tree. Thanks for watching.